Look, Mark, you're 52. This is a young person's game. The venture capitalist's voice was dismissive as he closed the MacBook without even finishing the presentation. Maybe consider consulting instead of trying to build the next unicorn. Mark Stevens sat across the glass conference table at Sequoia Capital, his weathered hands folded calmly over a business plan that could revolutionize cybersecurity. What these 28-year-old partners didn't know was that those same hands had built the Pentagon's most classified cyber defense systems. Mark Stevens, 52, former colonel, cybersecurity entrepreneur, 25-year military career, last 15 years in cyber operations. Top secret clearance at the Pentagon, holder of 3 cyber warfare technology patents. PhD in computer engineering from Stanford. Quiet, disciplined, perfectionist in technical details. Brandon Chen, 28, Sequoia Capital Jr. Partner, Harvard MBA, McKinsey background, 50-plus startup evaluations in the last 3 years. Expert in disruptive technology and digital native jargon. Doesn't view age and experience as keys to success. Overconfident but limited real technology. Experienced Sarah Morrison, 26, senior associate, MIT graduate, 2 years VC experience, obsessed with unicorn hunting and product market fit, ideologically committed to supporting young entrepreneurs, strong technical background, but no real-world application. In Sequoia Capital's 30th floor office, Brandon Chen had cut off Mark Stevens' presentation, midway. Mark wore a simple navy button-down and chinos, the most casual clothes he'd chosen to fit Silicon Valley's hoodie culture. "Mark, your background is impressive, of course," said Sarah Morrison from behind her MacBook. "But in our portfolio, the number of founders over 50 is, well, almost zero. The data shows younger founding teams are more successful." Mark kept his hands calmly on the table. "What success metrics do those data points use?" he asked, his voice low and controlled. Brandon smiled slightly. "Exit valuation, growth rate, market penetration. Momentum is everything in tech, and we see that energy level in young founders. Plus, investors relate more easily to younger founders." "Investors in your age group?" Mark's question seemed innocent, but carried subtle irony. Sarah frowned. "Mark, are you trying to be offensive here? I'm just explaining market reality." Brandon leaned forward. "So, what kind of innovation are you thinking in the cybersecurity space? AI-driven threat detection? Machine learning algorithms? Blockchain-based authentication?" Mark paused for a moment. "First, most of these buzzwords are for marketing purposes. Real cybersecurity is about understanding the adversary's motivation, capability, and tactics." "Adversary?" Sarah was taking notes. "That sounds very militaristic. Modern tech companies focus on user experience and seamless integration." "Of course," Mark said. "But cybersecurity is fundamentally warfare. Users shouldn't feel it, but there should be constant tactical thinking in the background." Brandon and Sarah exchanged glances, that knowing look implying the old man was thinking with his outdated mindset. "Mark, I appreciate the military perspective, but the civilian market works differently," Brandon said. "Consumers want frictionless experiences. Military-style security would be too heavy." Mark calmly pulled out his phone and sent a message. 30 seconds later, Brandon's phone started ringing, but strangely, Mark's phone started ringing at the same time. "How did that happen?" Sarah asked, confused. Mark smiled. That smile he rarely showed in military life. "I established a connection from your phone to mine. Right now I have access to everything including your camera, microphone, and location data." Brandon's face went white. This isn't legal." "You're right," Mark said, closing his phone. "But is an adversary limited by legal rules? I just penetrated Sequoia's enterprise-grade security system in 45 seconds. Silence filled the room. Impossible, Sarah said. Our IT department, ... I designed the firewall system your IT department uses for the Pentagon in 2018, Mark continued. I also placed 7 different backdoors in that system, for national security purposes at the time. Brandon leaned forward on the table. You worked at the Pentagon? 25 years, Mark said. I spent my last 15 years at Cyber Command. Every major cyber attack you know, Equifax, Target, OPM data breach, we analyzed all of them from a national security perspective. And in most cases, we saw how civilian cybersecurity companies failed. Sarah's voice was trembling. So this company's technology. I have access to this building's entire network, including the room we're speaking in, Mark said, opening his laptop. The screen showed Sequoia Capital's internal email system admin panel. Your investment decisions, portfolio company information, even your personal emails. Brandon's breath caught. How is this possible? Because the civilian cybersecurity industry focuses on being user-friendly, Mark said. They think military-grade security is too heavy. But real adversaries, nation-state actors, organized crime groups, they exploit this seamless experience mentality. Mark stood up and walked toward the window, looking out at San Francisco Bay. This startup is actually just the beginning. My real mission is protecting American companies from real cyber threats. What do you mean? Sarah asked. In the last 3 years, Chinese hackers have penetrated over 150 American tech companies. Russian groups are systematically targeting the fintech sector. Iranian cyber units constantly attack healthcare infrastructure. And our response? AI-driven threat detection and machine learning algorithms. Mark turned back. You're here unicorn hunting. I'm fighting for national economic security. Brandon's voice was low. So, what does your technology actually do? Real-time nation-state attribution, Mark said. When a cyber attack happens, within 30 seconds, I identify which country, which unit, which specific actors carried it out, and I deploy immediate countermeasures. This seems impossible, Sarah said. Mark turned his laptop around. The screen showed a real-time world map with red dots indicating active cyber attacks. Right now, 47 different attacks are being conducted by Chinese military units against American companies. 23 targeting the financial sector, 15 healthcare, 9 defense contractors. My God, Brandon whispered. Mark, Sarah said, her voice completely changed. I sincerely apologize. I didn't fully understand your background. No problem, Mark said. But this isn't just my story. There are 3 million veterans in Silicon Valley, and most of us experience age discrimination because our contemporary tech culture knowledge is questioned. Brandon nodded. But your level of expertise? Exactly the point, Mark said. I worked with cutting-edge technology for 25 years in the military. Most of the innovations in the civilian market we developed 10 years ago. But age-based prejudice undervalues this expertise. Mark sat back down at the table. Now the real question is, do you really want to revolutionize cybersecurity, or do you just want to take photos with young CEOs? Sarah and Brandon looked at each other. Sarah spoke first. Mark, we completely misjudged you. And honestly, we don't have this level of technical expertise in our portfolio. How have Sequoia's cybersecurity investments performed? Mark asked. Brandon hesitated to answer. Frankly, most underperformed. Good market traction, but questionable real security effectiveness. Because you valued presentation, not technology, Mark said. Young CEOs pitch very well, but can they stand against real-world adversaries? Point taken, Sarah said. So, what funding amount were you thinking for your company? Mark smiled. Actually, I wasn't looking for funding. I came to offer cybersecurity consulting to Sequoia, to protect your portfolio companies. Brandon was confused. Wait, what? This entire meeting was a demonstration, Mark said. I penetrated your security in 45 seconds. Imagine what a real adversary could do in 45 days. Mark, this is exactly what we need, Sarah said. We have 50-plus portfolio companies, and cyber threats are one of our biggest concerns. And the age discrimination? Mark asked. Brandon took a deep breath. Look, I approached this completely wrong, and honestly, we have a systemic problem at our firm. We undervalue experienced professionals. I have a solution proposal, Mark said. Start a military veterans in tech initiative. Not charity work, strategic advantage. Recognize the unique value proposition of veteran entrepreneurs. Sarah was excitedly taking notes. This is brilliant, and your cybersecurity consulting could be portfolio-wide. Exactly, Mark said. This way, I contribute to national security while strengthening the veteran entrepreneur ecosystem. 3 months later, Sequoia Capital announced the Military Veterans Innovation Fund program. $100 million, dedicated to veteran entrepreneurs. Mark Stevens' cybersecurity company handles cyber defense for 15 Fortune 500 companies. But the most important change was in Brandon and Sarah's approach. They now view age not as a liability, but experience as an asset when evaluating founders. The thing about military veterans, Sarah said at an industry conference, they don't just build companies, they build mission-driven organizations that actually solve real problems. And slowly in Silicon Valley, proven leadership value began to spread instead of young founder bias. Mark Stevens' story isn't just a success story. It's the beginning of a mindset shift. It shows how age discrimination in the tech sector wastes valuable expertise. But the real message is this. Military veterans shouldn't just be thanked for their service. They should be respected in their civilian careers too, their unique expertise valued. Because real innovation doesn't lie in flashy presentations, but in proven capability. And from national security to cybersecurity, from leadership to problem-solving, military experience is an invaluable asset for the modern business world. Mark's final words to Sequoia: age is not a limitation, it's accumulated wisdom. And Silicon Valley's biggest mistake is seeing wisdom as weakness. Today, Mark's company doesn't just prevent cyber attacks. It's also opening paths for the next generation of veteran entrepreneurs. Because experience never goes out of style, it just gets more valuable.